Hi, this is Matt Paulson, and this is my summary and conclusions to the January 6th hearings on the Capitol riots. I hope you find them enlightening. The interesting thing is they do slant it. All the negative information about Trump seems to come through their editing, because the published things that go out to the news network from the administration, they get into the backroom discussions, which can be things of natures that are untrue, things that are conspiracy, things that are like way off the beaten path, but they discuss them anyways. So people discuss those things. I want to show a few things that gets to the public, which is really supposed to stay behind the scenes. It's not supposed to be public knowledge. Let's hear what this lady has to say.
Center stage at last night's hearings about the January 6th riot, President Trump's inaction as his supporters carried it out, and law enforcement feared for their lives.
If we lose any more time, we may lose the ability to lead.
One jarring moment, listening to the Secret Service radio for help. Testimony from a Secret Service agent whose identity was protected captured the fear in the vice president's detail.
There was a lot of yelling, a lot of very personal calls over the video, so it was just I don't like talking about it, but they were calls to say by a family member essentially.
That is the most strangest comment from anybody testifying. The Secret Service, instead of doing his job, is making personal phone calls, and they think the riot is so bad, it's like the Russians have launched nuclear missiles, and so they called home and they're saying goodbye to their wives. That is the most stupidest thing, and why anybody would not say, excuse me, are you serious? Are you really saying that instead of doing your job, instead of trying to control the riot or stop people from coming into the Capitol, that you're calling home and you're telling your wife goodbye because you might not live to somehow your life is threatened by a bunch of rioters coming in? This is crazy.
The committee showed that as the attack raged, those around Trump were urging him to call for the mob to stop.
And when Trump tried to get the Secret Service to allow him to go to Capitol grounds where he could call off the riot, they said it was too dangerous, so he couldn't go. And the other weird thing is that they are urging the president to make a video or make a tweet to get them to stop. How can you tweet or make a video and have a bunch of rioters all of a sudden go to their phones, go to their TV sets, and they're going to somehow look and find out that the president is calling off the protest? This is ridiculous. What they didn't do is interview the rioters and find out why they left. No one looked at their phones to check to see what Trump was saying. No one was watching videos to see if Trump was going to call off the protest. The real reason why the rioters left is because Mike Pence called for the FBI, 1,800 servicemen, to go and bring order to the Capitol, and that's why the rioters left.
Even the former president's own son, Don Jr., texted White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows
at 2:53. He wrote, "He's got to condemn this ASAP. The Capitol Police tweet is not enough."
Meaning a tweet will not stop the rioters, so they've got to condemn it some other way. And that did happen. So Donald Trump did condemn the attack. It's on video, but the way they show it makes it look like that he was condoning the riot. And he doesn't. He tells everybody to go home. And then in his January 7th video, he condemns. He says all the rioters are going to go to jail, the ones who trespass. And that's what we see now, that there's almost 1,000 people that have been convicted of trespassing and various things, not insurrection, but they've been convicted of trespassing and violence. And those people have gone to jail, and that's what Donald Trump has said.
That swears or affirms to faithfully execute the office of President of the United States, and to the best of their ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the
Kind of interesting, to the best of my ability, I think that's what Trump has done. So if they don't agree with this, if they say that he's violated his oath of office, then the burden's on them, because they have to show that Trump did something against the Constitution that violates this statute. Now let's hear what the summary is for the January 6th hearings from this lady.
And is the commander-in-chief of our military. Our hearings have shown the many ways in which President Trump tried to stop the peaceful transfer of power in the days leading up.
You know, when you go to the court system and you try to get information that you feel that there was some wrongdoing, that's what you do. That's what Trump did. He did not go try to inspire an insurrection. This whole idea of insurrection is a total lie from the liberal press.
The Proud Boys and other rioters had stormed through the first barriers and begun the attack. Radio communications from
Okay, interesting. Proud Boys and other rioters got barriers and they did their attack. True, that's very true. But where's the National Guard? Where's Capitol Police when they started breaking through these windows? They're not there. They're film footage and they're freely roaming into the Capitol. This is crazy that someone would say that it's Trump's fault that the Capitol Police and National Guard are not called, they're not doing their job, or they're making private phone calls calling home.
radio communications from law enforcement informed Secret Service and those in the White House Situation Room of these developments in real time. At the direction of President Trump, thousands more rioters marched from the ellipse to the Capitol.
That's an unfair statement because Trump is calling for protests and he's not calling for rioters. That's very dishonest is what she said.
And they joined the attack. As you will see in great detail tonight, President Trump was being advised by nearly everyone to immediately instruct his supporters to leave the Capitol, disperse, and halt the violence.
And so 187 minutes went by and finally there was a statement. But the rioters were not stopped by the statement. The rioters were stopped by 1,800 federal police officers, ordered by Mike Pence of the Trump administration. So what's kind of interesting is that they called for Trump to stop the violence. But what can he do? He can't go to the Capitol grounds because Secret Service says it's not safe. He's going to tweet, "Oh, stop the violence." And what's people going to do? They're going to rip out their phones and look at their phone in the middle of all this violence and this protest. And they're going to say, "Oh, look, Donald Trump has told us to back off. And now we better go home." So how does that work? How can you stop a riot by tweeting and then all of a sudden you're going to make the rioters go down and leave? This is stupid. I can't believe these are intelligent people trying to orchestrate something that looks really disparaging on Donald Trump. They're the naysayers. They're the dorks that are thinking, hey, you know, Trump should have tweeted, he should have gone on a video, he should have gone on TV, when all these rioters are not watching, they're not paying attention to their phone, they're not listening to tweets, they're not watching TV. This is the most stupidest hearing I've ever seen in a U.S. court system.
By nearly everyone to immediately instruct his supporters to leave the Capitol, disperse, and halt the violence.
And he did that.
Virtually everyone told President Trump to condemn the violence in clear and unmistakable terms.
He did.
And those on Capitol Hill and across the nation begged President Trump to help. But the former president chose not to do what all of those people begged.
And for 3 hours, they debated on what to do. That's 187 minutes. That is doing something, and it's not doing anything at all.
On a video statement filmed in the Rose Garden, ending with this.
So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
And how many of the rioters watched that video on January 6th? Absolutely none. They went home in peace because the FBI told them to leave by 6 or they would be arrested. Okay, so the January 6th committee brings up 2 pipe bombs that were found on, planted on January 5th, and they were found on January 6th.
By that time, 2 pipe bombs had been found at locations near the Capitol.
The FBI is still frustrated by the pipe bombs. One pipe bomb was found in the RNC, the Republican National Committee alley. Then another one was planted by the DNC park bench. The FBI says there was timers built into the pipe bomb, but they didn't go off. So who planted the pipe bombs? Was it the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, or Antifa? Who would benefit the most? It is my guess that it would be somebody who was against both the Democratic and Republican parties. It would be most likely a militant wing of some fringe group, not a pro-Trump group. This lady is absolutely just barking up a storm, but saying really nothing. Where's the insurrection? Where is the violation of the Constitution or the stoppage of the election results? It's a protest. It was supposed to be a protest. That's what Donald Trump set it up as. That's what the rioters, they just took it too far. It's the rioters' fault. They're the ones who go into jail and not anybody else. And to say that Donald Trump has some fault in this because he called for a protest and it turned into a riot, that's totally dishonest.
The rioters took the floor of the Senate. They rifled through desks and broke into offices, and they nearly caught up to Vice President Pence.
They rifled through desks. I guess they were looking for Pence in the desks. Give me a break.
Guns were drawn on the House floor.
That's a lie. No guns were pointed at anybody in the House floor. There were 12 people that were charged with carrying weapons on Capitol grounds, and some of them were police agents who illegally carried them outside of the Capitol
A
grounds.
rioter was shot attempting to infiltrate the chamber.
Yeah, a rioter was shot trying to go through a window. Unarmed rioter, she didn't have a flagpole, she didn't have anything. She was an unarmed rioter. If you watch the video, I don't think this video is even shown, the guy in a suit and tie, all alone, was letting these people come through. It looked like Capitol Police had stepped aside and and then all of a sudden, one guy with one gun points the gun right point blank at the girl's neck and fires. He was not even under any kind of circumstance where he was going to be hurt.
We know virtually all the rioters were motivated by President Trump's rhetoric that the election had been stolen, and they felt they needed to take their country back.
Okay, they felt. No, they felt. It was an all emotional thing. So Donald Trump told them, hey, let's go have a protest. The protesters become rioters, got out of control. It's not Donald Trump's fault that the protesters became rioters. You can say that he inspired them to do it, but he didn't actually say, hey, let's go break into the Capitol. This is a farce.
From the time when President Trump ended his speech until the moment when he finally told the mob to go home, a span of 187 minutes, more than 3 hours. What you will learn.
Okay, so 187 minutes, Donald Trump sat idly or was either getting information from his advisors on what to do. Where's the security that's supposed to happen? Why can 10,000 people come up the stairs and trespass on the Capitol grounds without too much trouble? This is crazy. This is showing that our security on Capitol grounds is not appropriate. It's inept. There's some mismanagement. Can't blame this on Trump just because he called for a protest and it turned to a riot.
But on January 6th, when lives and our democracy hung in the balance, President Trump refused to act because of his selfish desire to stay in power.
That is absolutely stupid. People say that because it's some mass hysteria on this is Trump's idea to stay in power. Just because he went to the courts and he wanted to evaluate all these problems with voting fraud. Even though that nothing was really proved on a systematic level, there was some vote disparities, and so those things were dealt by and local officials, and they were proven not to be substantial. So that's really the only thing that Trump might disagree with. So by Trump going to the court system is not trying to stop a certified election. It's his way of being an American citizen saying, hey, I'm protesting. I think there was some shenanigans in voting machines or voting counting, and I wanted to double check to see if this is some type of mass fraud committed on American people. I don't think that's a crime. That's a conspiracy at this point, but it doesn't mean that Donald Trump is guilty of a crime. There's nothing in the laws that says people who go to the court system and think that a voter election was inaccurate, it's not a crime to do that. It might be a conspiracy, but it's not a crime. And to have a whole hearing on something like that is, to me, a total waste of time, and it's stupidity.
Desire to stay in power.
Wrong. That's really a stretch to make the assumption that the president's okay with people getting hurt, killed, and rioting. That's not true.
Yeah, I got the sense that they were scared.
They meaning Mr. McCarthy and people on the Hill because of the violence?
That he was scared. Yes.
Think about that. Leader McCarthy, who was one of the president's strongest supporters, was scared and begging for help.
Yeah, they were scared and begging for help, but no one would help. Capitol Police were overwhelmed. The people in charge of security, the secret police, overwhelmed, not doing their job. It took the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, to actually go and help and secure the Capitol grounds.
Dr. Brett Bail with more information now. Brett, what do you have?
The Pentagon team, General Griffin Lucas Tomlinson, confirming the Defense Department has now mobilized the entire D.C. National Guard, 1,800 troops. Take several hours, as I was mentioning before, to get them up and running. The Army Secretary Ron McCarthy is setting up a headquarters at the FBI. You just heard from David Spunt that the FBI is also sending troops to the Capitol.
Okay, so we finally had deploying 1,800 troops to the Capitol. There's finally something happening in that afternoon, January 6th. So I believe the federal FBI is controlled by the presidency. So it looks like Donald Trump is doing something. So to say that he's not doing something, or to say that he's sitting idly watching Fox News, would be an inaccurate statement.
It's no coincidence then that President Trump finally gave in and went out to the Rose Garden at 4:03. The script said, quote, "I'm asking you to leave the Capital Region now and go home in a peaceful way." The president was urged to stick to this script, but he spoke off the cuff. Let's hear what they had to say and see the never-before-seen raw footage of the president recording this video message.
When you're ready.
Who's behind me?
He's not coming. We're all clear now.
I know you paid. I know you're hurt. We had a election. I know you paid. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time.
Let's look at some never-before-seen photographs of the vice president during this critical time and hear about the vice president's conversation with military leaders to secure the Capitol and ensure everyone was safe.
Vice President Pence, there were three calls from Vice President
was very animated, very direct, very firm, and to Secretary Bowman. Get the military down here, get the guard down here, put down this situation, etc.
As you heard earlier in the hearing,
Okay, she's not even commenting about that. Think about it. The vice president, who is under the president, is ordering the National Guard to come out and any military means to get order into the Capitol grounds. I don't understand why their people aren't talking about this. Why is this a 10-second or 30-second segment and no one's talking about it? It is the federal government's responsibility to bring peace to that Capitol. And here we got Pence calling for the National Guard, calling for the FBI. We have the administration is actually the source of bringing peace and stopping the rioters, and nobody wants to talk about it.
time he had addressed the nation from the Rose Garden. Let's take a look.
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack yesterday, and to those who broke the law, you will pay. You do not represent our movement, you do not represent our country, and if you broke the law, you can't say that. I'm not gonna you. I already said you will pay. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defied the seat of destiny. It's defiled, right? See, I can't see it very well. Okay, I'll do this. I'm going to do this. Let's go. But this election is now over. Congress has certified the results. I don't want to say the election's over. I just want to say Congress has certified the results without saying the election's over. Okay?
But Congress is certain. Now Congress.
Yeah.
Now Congress.
I didn't say over. So let me see. Go to the paragraph before. Okay? I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack yesterday. Yesterday is a hard word for me. Take the word yesterday, because it doesn't work with heinous attack on our country. Say on our country. Want to say that?
No.
My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote.
To play excerpts from edited video without playing the final video. Okay, so this is the January 7th unedited, or the full video edited the way it went to the public. So this is the way Trump wanted everybody to see it.
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. To those who engage in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay. We have just been through an intense election and emotions are high. But now tempers must be cooled and calm restored. We must get on with the business of America. My campaign vigorously pursued every legal avenue to contest the election results. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. In so doing, I was fighting to defend American democracy. I continue to strongly believe that we must reform our election laws to verify the identity and eligibility of all voters and to ensure faith and confidence in all future elections. Now Congress has certified the results. A new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. This moment calls for healing and reconciliation. 2020 has been a challenging time for our people. A menacing pandemic has upended the lives of our citizens, isolated millions in their homes, damaged our economy, and claimed countless lives. Defeating this pandemic and rebuilding the greatest economy on earth will require all of us working together. It will require a renewed emphasis on the civic values of patriotism, faith, charity, community, and family. We must revitalize the sacred bonds of love and loyalty that bind us together as one national family. To the citizens of our country, serving as your president has been the honor of my lifetime. And to all of my wonderful supporters, I know you are disappointed, but I also want you to know that our incredible journey is only just beginning. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
So there's about 3 or 4 things you can get from the summary of the January 6th hearings. One is that Donald Trump called for a protest. He did not call for a riot. 2, federal government, FBI, were the first ones to really try to take control of the Capitol. Capitol Police were inept. They didn't do their duty. They didn't do their job. Secret police were inept. They did not do the duty. They did not do their job. They were making private phone calls when they should be taking action. Mike Pence is the one who did his job. He called for military. He called for FBI. He called for order. He's the one, and that is the Trump administration. That's not some rogue guy calling for peace. That is the Trump administration that is bringing peace to the Capitol. So all in all, when you come to the final conclusion, you got to watch the final videotape, and you can't watch the edit outtakes because that's discussion that's not for us to see. We can look at that. We can see Donald Trump making comments, making suggestions, things that were not in the video. Donald Trump has the right to believe what he wants to believe. He can believe elections were either stolen or somehow there was some inappropriate counts, and we can let him believe that. But we as a nation, we should be looking at the final edit of the video and accepting his condemnation. All those trespassers, all the ones he calls violence, Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, all those guys, they went to jail. They need to go to jail to learn a lesson. So that's the final takeaway from this. You should not be condemning Donald Trump for having weird ideas. There's many presidents that had many weird ideas. You know, we had McCarthy era things that were done, and presidents believed that communism was infiltrating Hollywood and things like that. Presidents can believe crazy things, but it doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means that they have some weird ideas. And having a weird idea is not a crime. So that's the way I put it together, and that's the way it should be done.
Well, that's it, Christine. I hope you liked my video. See you in July. Love you. Bye.